Oh, and I got... Did anyone else take down their scores?
No, I did not.
Okay. Alright, I'm gonna get rid of this then.
Mm.
I figured not, but I thought maybe. I'd rather have them and not need them.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is. Oh, you picked another good one.
Yeah, I thought so. Got a nice action shot going on. Plus, it's sort of indicative of the whole game because that's
Rather
like
have them and not need them. Yeah, there it is.
Yep. All right.
Oh, you picked another good one.
Yeah, I thought so.
Chat, go. Come back, chat.
No, chat, come back. All right. I'm gonna retweet this business. Hopefully. Yeah, there we go.
Coincidentally, this is why I mute when I'm not talking.
I don't have a physical mute button.
Oh, there's one right in Skype, man.
Oh, really? I'd be worried I'd hang up. All right. I had to. We gotta reference it somehow.
Yep.
Gotta let the people know.
Well, we don't want to sell them a bill of goods, you know.
No, no. All right, let me just open up show notes again here. Or do I already have them open? I think I already have them open.
Oh, I didn't look at. Do we want to look at Musum's here?
Yeah, sure. See what he's got. See if he's got some good points that we forgot. They're very sparse. I think is the word you would use there. All right. Well,
yeah, I think I got most of this stuff.
Nice.
At least the stuff we can use.
Yeah, I've got a small smattering of notes myself here, so... Okay. All right, let's get this underway, guys. Let's kick it off in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to TVGP's Game Club Cast, where the people from the TVGP.tv forums get together, play a game that was voted on by the community. It's sort of like a book club for games, but there's no Oprah. I'm your host, as always, the Hannah. With me is the other Jay-Z and Dork.
Hey.
How you guys doing today?
Oh, better than Musum.
Better than Musum.
Yeah, so normally this is where I would say we're also joined by the community member who voted in the game, longtime community member and really a friend of the show, and sort of a host because he's on Picking Up the Pixels with Boston, and also on the Carousel with the other Jay-Z, John Musum, and he unfortunately had a toilet explode, so he is cleaning up raw sewage instead of talking about video games, which is really not a fair trade-off.
That is the worst excuse to get out of the show I've ever heard.
Yeah,
a plumber.
When we packaged him into Skype, thankfully he didn't initiate video chat, because I can't imagine what that scene looks like over there right now.
Yeah, I'm sure he was just sort of...
it probably looks like the end of a Shawshank Redemption or something.
Or like the, last... or like the last third of Dogma.
Ugh.
Yeah. So yeah, unfortunately Musum will not be joining us unless some sort of toilet miracle happens, which I doubt it. But yeah, let's get into it. So the nominees for this month were Darksiders 2, nominated by the other Jay-Z here.
I hate you all.
Yep. The Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, nominated by Adam Splitter, which I think got a couple. It didn't get too many votes, but it got a couple. And the winner by like a good solid 9 or 10 votes, Vanquish, which was suggested by Musum. So that's the game we're talking about today. We're talking about Vanquish.
Very pleasant surprise, right off the board.
Yeah? You think so?
I didn't think it was going to be awful. I mean, it came out on PS Plus forever ago.
Yeah.
Or was free, 2 years ago probably. And I played about 15 minutes of one. All right, this is all right. I'll get back to it.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, I need the 12 gigs for something else, and just...
Yeah, that's generally how these things go down. Scott, what were your first impressions?
Well, I didn't hate it.
Okay, that's a good change from was it last month?
Red Dead,
yeah.
So this is not going to be a hour's worth of rant. But I don't know. It's another game that is not directed at my tastes.
Okay,
So.
fair enough.
But I won't trash it.
All right. I mean, you can trash it a little. There's some things to be trashed about this game. Let's be real.
There's a little bit of stuff, but
There's
even
some
that stuff is kind of okay.
Yeah. So, Vanquish is a third-person cover-based shooter. It was published by Sega, and it was developed by Platinum Games. It came out October 19th, 2010. And it came out only on the 360 and PS3. So this was directed by Shinji Mikami. It was actually his first game after God Hand came out. So the first game he designed immediately after that. And it was sort of inspired directly by the low sales numbers that God Hand had. And he aimed to fix that by making what he referred to as, and I quote here, a mainstream action game. Vanquish being the result and sort of not necessarily being a mainstream action game. But
well, you can. There are facets of it. We'll get to.
There are some really direct comparisons to a lot of games that I can definitely make. One of the most interesting things I found out about this game was that the lead development language, instead of being Japanese, which you'd think it would be, being that it's Platinum and a former Capcom dev, it was actually English. So that actually kind of explains a few things about the story and just sort of the phrasing used in some of the lines in this game. And another fun little piece of trivia, if you remember the GameCube game PN03, this is actually a spiritual successor to that game, and it was actually confirmed by Mikami himself in an interview with Edge Magazine in 2010.
It's funny that you bring that up, if that's something we remember, because it's actually PN03 is an anagram for nope.
Yeah.
Big ol' nope.
I gotta say, I never played that one. Was it a big ol' nope?
I don't know. I never even heard of it.
Really?
Oh.
Huh. Yeah, maybe that's one I'll have to revisit.
Although if it didn't have Mario or Link in it, I probably didn't play it on the GameCube.
Fair enough.
What about Resident Evil 4?
Oh, I did play that. I did play it on the GameCube, but I remember it most fondly on the PS2.
That's a shame. The GameCube version was superior.
Yeah, by far. I couldn't get through the load screens on the PS2.
Yep. It also came out like 2 years later on the PS2. That was...
Anyway, we didn't play that game.
No, not at all. So I want to try something a little new here. We sort of get into the details of the dev and the publisher, and I don't think that's going... I don't know. I don't think that's necessarily what we want to focus on. Plus, Scott does a really great job of putting all that stuff in the initial post for the Game Club game. So if you want to find out about all that stuff, hit up the forums, check out the post, and check out all the cool stuff that Nintendork has put into his post. So it's really interesting information.
And you know what? Those are great every month. Nice going with those.
They really are.
Well, thank you guys.
Yeah.
I slave hours. I ignore my children.
Mm-hmm.
I ignore
like
my
you
wife.
should. Yeah, like you should.
Yeah, you just wanted an excuse.
All things
we're actually helping you out here, man.
Yeah, I mean, really, you should be thanking us. But, that's neither here nor there. So I want to do something a little bit different. So I decided we don't necessarily tell what the game is about. So I want to do a quick story synopsis of Vanquish. And I grabbed this off of the Giant Bomb wiki, so bear with me for 2 paragraphs. You get an idea of what we played and, maybe some of the trappings around it. So Vanquish is set on far future Earth where its populations have reached critical levels, creating a shortage of resources and real estate. To solve this problem, the United States of America has launched SC-01 Providence, a self-sustaining space station that harnesses solar energy and is capable of supporting millions of people inside a fully functioning ecosystem. Meanwhile, Viktor Zaitsev of the Order of the Russian Star, that's got to be the most generic name ever, leads a coup in Russia. His first act as their new leader is to promptly declare war on the USA by capturing Providence and turning its solar generators into a giant death ray. He destroys San Francisco with a warning shot, threatening to destroy New York unless the USA surrenders unconditionally.
Yeah, warning shot. Okay.
Yeah, San Francisco is just a warning shot. Had it been LA, that would have been the actual attack.
Yeah.
America responds by sending Sam Gideon, a DARPA agent and the game's protagonist, with a battalion of U.S. Marines led by Robert Burns to take back the station and stop Victor. Sam is also entrusted with a secret mission to rescue the scientist responsible for the space station, Dr. Francois Candide. Is it Candide? I can't remember.
That was Candide.
Candide, yes.
It could be any of those things. He's French.
Yeah. And help him disable the death ray before it can be used again. The storyline is treated with a playful tone, often satirizing the events of other popular sci-fi shooters and delving into cliches from an ironic point of view. Those 2 paragraphs gave me more story information than the actual game did.
Yep.
I didn't know any of that until I read that thing.
My comment was going to be none of that even mattered.
No, and it totally doesn't. This game is pure, unfiltered action.
Yeah, it is. Let's do a cutscene and have him do some awesome flips and say a couple of snarky lines, and then it's just next set piece. Let's go.
Very much so.
That stuff's only there so they can have some sort of betrayal at the end of the game, which you see coming a mile away.
Which I unfortunately didn't get to. I know I'm the worst. It's like a 6-hour game, and I still didn't finish it.
Did you finish it, Scott?
I did not.
Oh,
but
we're both the worst.
It wasn't like my not finishing it really was more along a lack of interest sort of line.
Fair enough.
Well, how far in did you get?
I got through Act 3.
Okay. You were only looking at like another hour and 15 minutes, and it was just kind of more of the same. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, see, that's my comment. I don't know. We're kind of shumbling things up a little bit.
That's all right.
I played through Act 3, and that was, I think, 4 hours for me, or 4.5. And it didn't really feel any different from the first hour.
Now, what difficulty did you play on?
Oh, that's a good story.
Oh, yeah?
I started on normal. What did you guys?
I went immediately down to like the casual auto setting because I wanted to finish it.
How'd that work out for you, Hannah?
Yeah, how'd that go?
It didn't.
Too bad they didn't have a lower level of step below that one.
It's a shame. It's a shame the game couldn't just play itself. Really,
I was gonna say they do. It's YouTube.
Yeah,
it does.
I played through it on normal. I think the end screen said I died like 13 times.
Okay, that's not bad.
I died 13 times in the first mission.
Wow.
Well, and 3 or 4 of those were gimmicky QTEs or something like that.
Or like the bridge collapses under you, and there's not enough cues telling you to get off it until it actually collapses.
Right. That's
that whole sequence was like I got through that like I think I got through that in like 3 lives, but like that's 2 lives too many.
Well, the thing is, they like a couple missions before that, they're screaming at you. They're like, "Go, go, go! We gotta move! We gotta move!" And then you go to run forward because you're like, "All right, do they really mean this?" And then none of your Marines follow you. Yeah. And then they start yelling at you for like, "You're in too deep! Get back! Get back!" And well, okay, clearly these are just nonsense that they had to have people talk at you during the game.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the bridge falls out. And it's like, well, okay.
Yeah. So. But I think we'll get into that in a minute here. We gotta do a little time traveling first, gentlemen. So this game was released in October 2010.
Gaze upon this list in despair.
Oh, dude, gaze upon this list in despair. I mean, so you're looking at the reception of the game was pretty good. IGN gave it an 8.5 out of 10. Joystick gave it a 4.5 out of 5. Destructoid, though, kind of tore this game to pieces, giving it a 5 out of 10 and saying, Vanquish is a tepid and tedious game that simply doesn't deserve your cash during a period chock full of superior releases. And at first I thought that was unduly harsh.
No,
and
it's dead right.
And then I looked at the list of releases for between September and November 2010. Oh, man.
Yeah, this was not the time of the year to release something like this, especially when your last game didn't do real well.
No, this was the worst time to release something like this. So let's go down the list. We got Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions with, if you remember the TVGP back then, Knobs loved. I was also a huge fan. Halo Reach, which there goes like half of your audience to Halo right there.
Oh, more than that easy.
Yeah. Civ 5, probably not a lot of crossover there. But
no.
Still. Dead Rising 2. You got a Guitar Hero game, Guitar Hero Warriors of Rock. I think that was the first one with the full band kit.
Yes.
Or like the second one with drums.
No,
I don't remember.
I think maybe one of the band games, so it's like Aerosmith or something like that.
Oh, yeah, you're right. So you also had the first Castlevania Lords of Shadow. Not a big seller, but a good game. Medal of Honor, Fable 3, Red Dead Redemption, Undead Nightmare, the zombie DLC came out, and I remember that being huge. That was a huge deal because it was standalone.
Yep.
So you had that. You got Rock Band 3. So, we're barely halfway down this list. Fallout New Vegas, The Sims 3, Call of Duty Black Ops, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, and Gran Turismo 6.
5.
Oh, Gran Turismo 5. I'm sorry.
Here's the thing about that list. Anyone with any interest in any genre had something that they were probably more interested to play.
Yes, and normally we say, was it top of the pile or was it overlooked? This game was barely even in the pile.
Which sucks, because, it's kind of a hidden gem.
This
is
is
not something I'm going to flatly recommend to anyone I know, but it's a good one.
Yeah, this is like a solid example of a Game Club game. These are the kind of games we are looking to play for Game Club. If you know these, throw them in the suggestions for them, because we're running a little low. We've got to boost these suggestions. So this game sold about 1.03 million total worldwide between 360 and PS3, and obviously that doesn't account for digital sales and the PS Plus a while back giving it away.
Okay.
But I would still venture to say there's probably fewer than 2 million copies physically and digitally of this game out there.
You could probably, you don't include resale, but let's just for giggles include resale.
Yeah.
And let's include the PS Plus numbers. Maybe you get up to 2.
Yeah,
but
maybe
it's still a long shot.
Yeah. But this is not a bad game by any stretch of the
No,
imagination.
not at all.
It's not a fantastic game. It's good. It's a very solid game. There's a lot to like here, but there's also some hitches here and there. So let's get into it. First hour gameplay. What did we like?
Well, the first thing I noticed is that I don't know, I forget what they call it. They have some weird acronym for it, but the PS4, the PlayStation button, little thing that takes you back to the XBL, maybe what they call it.
The XMB, the cross media bar.
There you go.
Yeah.
That isn't. They moved that to such a much better place on the DualShock 4.
Yeah.
Even if it does cause me to, during Rocket League, go back to the menu over and over, it feels like it's in a much better spot.
Mm-hmm.
The gunplay is real satisfying. I barely use the rocketing around stuff.
Wait,
Really?
what? The gunplay is satisfying?
Yeah, you can get a bunch of headshots and the way the guns upgrade and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
No.
No? Not a fan?
No. Sorry, Jake, no.
Well, how far did you ramp up one of your guns?
I don't know. It was based on like emblems or something, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's my complaint as far as the upgrade process goes. Do you know how many times I'd stumble upon an upgrade? They seem to drop randomly, first of all.
They do, yeah.
Which is a pain.
There's 2 ways to upgrade.
And then I had to scoot myself over to it, which usually put me in the middle of the firefight.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had to select the correct weapon I wanted to upgrade. So there were a number of times that I upgraded the wrong weapon.
Oh,
Sometimes
yeah.
I even upgraded a weapon that I didn't even want that I immediately dropped.
Yeah, that was
So the
not
upgrade
fun.
process, DUMB dumb.
Well, there's a second way to upgrade your guns. Did you know that?
I did not know that either.
that?
What's the second way to upgrade your guns?
If your ammo for that gun is full, and you pick up another copy of it, it gives you another level.
Oh, yeah, okay. I thought it did that. I just never confirmed that.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
they
that
don't
would've been
explain that
really
at all.
handy to know.
Yeah, right? I
Well-
intuited it after I did that. I was like, oh, I shouldn't have picked that up. I need the ammo later, and I noticed my emblems went up. I was like, wait, what?
Well, what sucks about that is they encourage you not to use the guns you want to upgrade then. Because if I have, basically I used almost nothing but machine guns and rocket launchers. So if I got my machine gun and my heavy machine gun, and I want to upgrade my heavy machine gun, even though it might be level, 7, and my regular machine gun's 3, I can't use that heavy machine gun because if I come across another one, I'd rather not refill the ammo. I want to spend that drop on upgrading the heavy.
I see what you mean. It's counterintuitive to what your goals are.
Right, so you kind of can't use, you can, but it's not optimal. You can't use a weapon until it's fully upgraded. Then you can just go to town. But it was kind of a bummer.
I don't know. I am with Jay-Z on this. I really liked the gunplay, and I think part of it was the level I played it on. This game felt a lot more arcadey on the really, really easy level. It was almost a shooting gallery. I'm almost ashamed to say this.
No, I completely agree with you, and that was going to be one of my points, is that I started on normal, but it was somewhere in the first act that I bumped it down to easy, whatever the next one was, the one above you, Anna.
Okay.
And the game changed completely. It went from being sort of this mildly frustrating game to a really fun arcade game. It was almost a game that I could see sort of out of place in time.
Yes.
Like it seems like it felt like it should have been made, I don't know, a decade and a half ago.
I had this almost exact same thought earlier today. Not in the same, like, it should have been like made in a decade and a half ago, but it was more along the lines of, what if, like, home consoles never quite caught on and arcades were still a thing?
Yeah, no, it's exactly what this game felt like. And then I actually thought it was a shame they shoehorned so much story on it. Because I think it would have been better served as a three-dimensional R-Type.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
A game like R-Type doesn't really have a story, right?
No,
There's
not
no
at all.
cutscenes or anything like that. If you were just playing a three-dimensional shooter like that, like the whole point is just to go from one end of the stage to the other, like how much more fun I think the game would have been based on that.
I don't know. I liked the
what-
hokiness.
Well, what you got was sort of this Gears of War knockoff.
It's Gears of War on crank. Let's be clear here. It's not as plodding or slow as Gears of War can be at times.
But it is every bit Gears of War.
Oh,
The
absolutely.
visuals are the finger to the ear, the slow walk when they're talking and you can't do anything, but you can walk around, you can look around, but you can't do anything else. I think all of that, if that was thrown out, and the badly compressed cutscenes, if you throw all of that out, I think you had a better game. I think if you just broke it up into stages.
I think I have a note here that says parts of this feel like a Contra game.
No,
Well, it's
I
the
think if you
giant
called this
bosses.
Contra 6
Yeah.
and you put in a second player, it would have been way better.
It would have been Game of the Year.
I don't know. I go that
Red
far,
Dead,
but
Michael.
It was, like my only thought, it was when I was fighting the boss at the end of Act 2, which was basically just a giant wall.
Why
It's got the
is it
turrets
ranking?
on it, and you got it's that giant pink laser beam.
I don't remember that at all.
Really?
Was that the thing that drilled up through the ground?
No, it was.
The pink laser beam.
It had the one spot on it. It was shooting down all the carriers coming in with Marines, and it had the one spot.
It wasn't a wall, but it was sort of a facility
Yeah,
that had like mounted guns and stuff on it.
Okay, yes.
It just
now
reminded
it
me
had like
of-
an eyeball that opened up.
Yeah, it reminded me of that level 2 boss in Contra, where it changes perspectives and you're going forward. And it's exactly like the end boss of that. You just got to find the spot and shoot it.
Well, there was a lot of. It felt a lot like you're shooting Metal Gears from Contra, because there were glowy bits that you had to shoot, and they're all mechs. They're all shaped like weird animals, and there's the scorpion one and the cat one, and the even some of them, I believe, alluded to some of the weird anatomical features that they've added to Metal Gears over the years.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of the model names was something I can't say on here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there was, it was kind of like they decided to make Gears of War, except put it on the Citadel from Mass Effect.
Yes.
And then it turns out that the Citadel is actually Halo, because there's giant rings and there's like, no gravity rooms where you're running around the walls like you're in
Dead Space?
Yeah.
Not quite Dead Space, because you don't get to fly around. I was thinking more like 2001.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
This game just felt like a mash, like little pieces of so many
pieces
games.
Of everything else. And the other Metal Gear-ish thing is, everyone sounds like they're trying to be Solid Snake. Every voice actor has that like gruff, like David Hayter kind of voice going on.
Even the women.
Yes, even the women. And it's no wonder Platinum ended up helping make Metal Gear Rising, because this was basically like a Metal Gear game smashed together with a with a Gears of War game.
Yeah, I mean, right down the aesthetics are all very Metal Gear.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, aside from the backgrounds and stuff. But,
Yeah.
Oh god, especially that the tram ride.
The
in
tram
Act
ride?
2, where you're sort of seeing the curvature of the installation as you're going down the train. Oh, that was cool.
That reminded me so much, and you mentioned it already, the Citadel from Mass Effect. That's exactly the feel I got off of this place. And the other big thing that gave me the Metal Gear feel was how you're communicating with everybody. It's basically just a codec.
It's all green,
Yeah.
and the face pops up in a rectangle in the corner, and
And the main character's constantly smoking. It's
you can smoke during combat,
which is the best. And you did you see where like he so when you go into cover, you can smoke, and he finishes the cigarette and he like flicks it over, and you can see the thing glowing as it flips over. It's fantastic.
Was there any point to that?
No. Just fluff.
just to be goofy.
It was, well, he can't jet around while he's in cover, so we got to do something with this button.
Well, the animations on Gideon, Sam Gideon?
Yep.
Whatever. It doesn't matter what his name is. He's gruff, goateed white guy.
He's large, huge.
He's Nathan Drake with a beard. His animations were real cool, down to the smoking thing, which they got a lot of mileage out of. That was almost uncomfortable how much they showed him smoking.
Yeah.
And talking about smoking.
You bring that up. It's interesting, isn't it, that a game like this comes out and he's smoking constantly, and you notice it.
Yeah.
Smoking is so far removed in our society now that something like this really brings it to the front.
We spend so much time talking about how cool it is to smoke, and like making it look cool, and like, really, this is uncharacteristic for video games in 2012.
Oh, for sure. Wasn't there, in the beginning, when you're introduced to the sort of, I don't know, is he your sidekick? What is he, your nemesis? Robert Burns.
He's you're with DARPA.
Yeah.
DARPA's gonna DARP. You're up there with them as sort of representative of the executive branch.
A liaison, if you will.
Yeah. And Robert Burns is actual military. I think he's a lieutenant corporal or something.
Something like that.
So he's not super keen on you coming along because he doesn't want, I don't know, oversight or something like that.
He doesn't want oversight. He doesn't want your little secret mission getting in his way.
And maybe he doesn't want you to tattle on him if he does something that you don't like. Or
What's not to like about that guy, though? Come on.
He tried to murder Moscow.
Well, haven't we all?
That's the big twist at the end, is that the United States, the president actually helped, sort of facilitated the Russians taking over, I'm going to call it the Citadel, and let them blow up San Francisco so she could start a war, and then that would get rid of our recession.
So a false flag operation.
Perpetrated by a Hillary Clinton lookalike.
And then Mr. Burns was sent up there to just take out Moscow, because we need a war.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Story!
That's awesome. That's a cool twist. I didn't get to that part.
You see it coming about 3 acts, or about 3 or 4 chapters before it actually makes good on it.
So, hold on. Now that I know just that, so he tries to stop you and tries to hijack the station and point it at Moscow, basically, right?
You get to the final control room.
Yeah.
Because there's, they have 8 hours to stop New York from becoming San Francisco, which sounds like something straight out of Donald Trump's mouth. Or from being the next San Francisco.
Yeah.
And so it's like down to like 7 minutes or something like that. And this Pierre, what's his face, is in the control room and points a gun at you when you bust in because he thinks you're helping the president. He doesn't know you came in to save him, I don't think. And so he stops it at like the 7-minute mark. And then Tychus, sorry, not Tychus, Robert Burns. Tychus is the guy who looks just like him from StarCraft. Busts in and basically fills the guy full of holes.
Oh, bummer.
And then big plot reveal, and you have to chase him through the facility and then kill him.
Ah, fun. I was hoping I'd get to fight that guy eventually. I'm going to have to finish this up.
It's not a real great fight. He puts up a shield. So he's got this big riot shield, and the only place you can shoot him is like from the wang down, which is funny, but not very effective damage-wise. You got to shoot this dude in the wang a whole bunch of times to put him down. And there's 3 different stages and QTEs and
nice.
Yeah. You're good. You don't need to finish it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's there wasn't a lot of other stuff that was awesome. The rocket sled elevators were cool.
I don't think I got to those.
They have rocket sled everything,
nice,
which is great. I love rocket sleds.
Your whole suit is a rocket sled, and it's the best.
Yeah, yeah. And then they had leaderboards that I went on, and Newsom beat me on a couple of levels, and I beat him on a couple of levels. But if you look at the overall totals, clearly people are cheating because there's nothing but like the old school wall of 9999999 down for just pages and pages and pages.
Nice.
So that could have been cool.
Yeah.
Didn't pan out.
Yeah, that's the arcade thing.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to see like the different mechanics that this game came up with. I was a really big fan of the speed, just the pure, like unadulterated, just you are moving so fast you don't even really know where you are. And that was kind of cool, but at the same time it was also like, all right, I'm going to go into battle. Oh, I'm surrounded by enemies and I'm dead.
In the last fight, I think early in the game, Ivanova, the woman who's got an IQ of 183 or whatever, she's your DARPA sort of.
She's your Oracle
handler. Yeah.
Yeah.
Early in the game, she says something, or you say something to her about like, I'm not moving fast enough. What's going on? She goes, oh, well, there's limiters in the thing because we don't want you to hurt yourself with the suit.
Yeah.
Well, they turn those off in the last fight, and it basically doubles your bar, your meter for being able to rocket around.
That's awesome.
And also moves probably about 2.5 times as fast.
That I don't even know how I would control that.
It's crazy.
Everything, and another thing, everything about this game is just so snappy. I played it on the PS3, and going in and out of like zoomed weapons, it takes just like a split second, and just everything is like crisp and slick, and feels like the controls felt good. I really liked controlling this game, and which is weird because I'm bad at these kinds of games. I mean, this is a type of game that requires like accuracy and so to be paying attention, not things I'm good at. And
there were a lot of controls too.
There were, and it was overwhelming for such a short game. I would dare say I had maybe an hour and a half to go in that game.
What are all these controls? Maybe I wasn't doing them.
So you have so you can rocket sled around, you can dodge, and if you follow that dodge up with an aim at the right time, you get your nice bullet time. You have, your weapon switching, you have, the upgrades, you have just all sorts of
taking cover, a bunch of context sensitive stuff.
It's
throwing grenades.
It's weird in the way that it utilizes all four of the shoulder buttons to really like extensive amounts. Normally, you're using in most games you're going to limit that to about 3 if you think about it. You've got the two back triggers.
Maybe 2 of the face buttons.
Yeah. This game, like I was literally all over the controller the whole time.
I think the only button that didn't actually do something was select.
Which is weird.
And by the way, some of the buttons change depending on whether you're in cover or not. Like it was a lot.
Yeah, it was interesting. I
didn't have that impression.
Really?
In fact, I thought it was really pretty simple.
Did you play it on a PS3?
No, I played a 360.
Okay, maybe that's it. I would not be shocked if it's just going from like this is the type of the game. So when I originally played this game, I played it on 360, and I don't think I had any of those thoughts of like, oh yeah, it's kind of this and this and this. I think it's because of that PS3 controller, because you move the actual shooting buttons to L1 and R1 like you tend to do in those types of games. And I think
there were different control types, and that certainly helped.
Mm-hmm.
It just seemed like in a lot of like a Zone of the Enders or something like that, where you have 4 or 5 different ways you can attack somebody. It seemed overwhelming, and I got the hang of it, but it was kind of, I was taken aback a little to start with. But that's a Japanese game for you.
Yeah. But now that you mention it, I think it was almost entirely because I was on PS3, and it's just a different sort of controller, and probably just a perception thing more than anything.
Well, Microsoft didn't give it to me for free, so I guess I'll never know.
Yeah. Did you have anything else, Jay-Z?
That was kind of my good stuff for now.
Scott, you got any big points that we missed?
I don't know if we've missed any of the big points. I did like it a lot because it was such a fast-paced game. Not something you typically see anymore.
Yeah, that's one thing. Like I feel like I can't stress enough is just how quick this game is.
But one thing I thought was strange, I thought the fast pace of the game was oddly constrained by your meter.
Yes.
I just think maybe it would have been nice to have your meter. It maybe get rid of it completely.
That would have been cool. I think one of the things that would have gone a long way for me personally is untie the meter from your melee attack. Because when you use your melee attack, it burns your meter completely. And so I think just to clarify this before we go any further, the meter we're referring to, it's basically your power or your heat meter. And you lose chunks off of it for zooming around the level using the boosters, and you also lose it for using like the bullet time effect after you dodge. So
and melee burns the whole thing to the ground.
and doing a melee attack.
And there's a gun that uses it as ammo.
No, what gun is that?
I forget because the instant I found out what I did, it stayed on the floor forever. I think it was the LFE gun, which makes sense.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I hated that gun.
Yeah, that gun sucked.
What?
Well, how do you use that gun?
It just burns your meter. Your meter is ammo. When you run out of life, which is shields, and also all your mobility and your shields are the same thing. Well, then you toss that and make that your ammo as well. That's a no-go.
That's too much. Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting concept. It's an interesting limitation, but I think it was too limiting. I think you're right on that point.
Yeah, there was a lot of cool guns that they didn't seem to do what I wanted them to do well enough.
Yeah.
So I never used them. The laser lock-on gun?
Terrible. The worst gun in the game. Like almost without question.
Super cool to fire, but it doesn't do anything.
It doesn't do any damage. So if you're going up against an enemy and it's like, oh yeah, I've locked on to 5 points on this enemy, it does like 2 damage. It does like nothing.
Yeah.
It was depressing.
There was the disc gun.
Yeah, it sucked.
Which
just
was
bounced off of everything.
Well, it hit the guy, and then it did like this coming back around thing, so it looked like it was maybe supposed to boomerang off other dudes, but I couldn't figure out how to make it do that. The shotgun I never touched because I didn't want to be close enough to anyone to use that.
Enemies are mean in this game.
The sniper rifle was cool. I held on to that at different points. It replaced the rocket launcher, depending on the situation.
I pretty much carried that and the other 2 machine guns.
Yeah.
Well, there were 3 machine guns.
Okay. I carried a machine gun and a super machine gun.
And probably the heavy, because the other one, you burn through ammo too quick. It's like the boost machine gun or something.
Yeah, that only had a 15 bullet clip, but it does a ton of damage.
So there were those. There was the rocket launcher, obviously. There was like there was an actual laser. Yeah. There was maybe that was the one that used your energy. There was the LFE shot those big orbs that just went through everything and didn't seem to hurt them.
It didn't seem to do any damage, so it made me think I was using it incorrectly.
The only thing I noticed it did if you were it was like a shotgun range weapon. If you were close enough to an enemy, it pushed them way back. But if you were too far away from it, it didn't do anything.
And then there was the like a heavy armor pistol.
That thing was cool. I like that a lot.
It was super cool, but you didn't run into them often enough that it made it worth holding on to, because A, you'd never be able to upgrade it, and B, you basically were just wasting a slot because you only get 30-something shots with this thing.
Yeah.
So I think that was the biggest disappointment for the game for me, is that they had all these super cool concept but ineffective weapons. Oh, and the animation on we were talking about when he's flicking cigarettes and stuff. I really liked that the gun actually morphs from gun to gun.
Yeah.
The animation was real cool for that. Because you have a base gun. In the story, you only have a base gun. And you find schematics for the other ones. And the idea is your suit can only remember 3 schematics at once, which is why you only have the 3
slots.
So I'd love to be in that boardroom meeting. All right, we're designing this multi-billion-dollar advanced suit. We don't have enough memory for more than 3 guns.
But they ran out of RAM. Like, there's limitations. There's bottlenecks.
Oh man.
I thought that was real cool. What I didn't like so much was that if you kill the boss, and he might drop an upgrade, and you can see it when you're in like the little codec screen or the mission end screen or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they go right to cutscene, so they never give you a chance to pick it up. It's like, maybe just don't make him drop that, because you're just making me mad.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes the bosses will be able to one-shot you, and if they don't, they have quick-time events, which thankfully there weren't a ton of, but 2 is too many. And since neither of you guys beat the game, you wouldn't know this, but the credit sequence, did you...
I think that was a shot, Heine. I think that was a shot.
I let him take his shot. He gets so little.
It's almost a mercy, though, because... Did you guys ever play the single-player stuff for Super Smash Brothers back on the 64?
Mm-hmm.
You remember how they let you do the little space adventure game where you got to shoot all the credits and get points?
Oh, yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, it was fun because you could speed it up.
Yeah.
Here, it's a 10-minute credit sequence,
Ooh.
and it's unskippable. And then on top of that, then you have the actual credits that are unskippable. Like, it was awful. Awful. But that's the only way I knew that Shinji Mikami actually had anything to do with this, though, because I would have missed it if I didn't have to stare at my TV for 12 minutes looking at names. Well, it seems like you had some stuff you didn't like, Scott.
No, I don't want to turn it into a gripe session, because the last thing I want to do is like devolve this into just us complaining about the game every month, because I don't hate it at all. I actually really liked it. It's just that I felt like I basically wonder what the game would be like with some modifications. One of those being if it was more of a level-based thing and not such a story-driven thing. And if you got rid of that restriction, and then even the ammo restriction seems a little odd.
For the type of game it is,
right?
Yeah,
like this bullet hell type of game, but yet you're going to restrict me to a few shots.
Yeah.
So
that was part and parcel to upgrading the weapons, because by the time you had the heavy machine gun all the way upgraded, you had 400 shots.
Yeah.
The regular you had 1,200. Like,
yes, but I at one point ran completely out of ammunition. It was the point where you're having to take on, oh gosh, what was
two of those giant things?
Yes, you're absolutely right. 2 of those giant things. I completely ran out of ammunition, to the point that I was scrounging shotguns and thinking, if I don't kill this thing here, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah. Luckily, when you, I noticed when you die and you come back in with, sorry, it seems to try and figure out the weapons most appropriate to your current situation, equip them to you, and then drop you back in the level with full ammo.
I thought that was odd too, that you would start a new level, but you wouldn't have a refreshed ammo pack.
Mm-hmm.
But if I die, everything gets replenished.
So in a weird video game logic sort of way, that sort of makes sense to me, because if you died, clearly you need a bit of a boost, a little bit of a hand. So that I think that's the developers kind of going like, here you go, buddy, have some more ammo.
Yeah, but starting a level, oftentimes I would die not immediately.
Not immediately, just
and sometimes
really
I would die
quickly
intentionally to reboost my ammunition.
Maybe that's part of the game.
I don't know. That seems like a weird thing to put in a game.
There was a part of me that really appreciated it at one point, because I think I had a sniper rifle, the anti-armor pistol, and an assault rifle, and I die, and I was like, man, I don't know how I'm gonna do anything with these guns, and it loaded me back up, and I had the assault rifle, the heavy machine gun, and the boost machine gun, and I tore right through everything.
So Scott, if you're looking for a shot, I got one for you. Didn't you have the same ammo problem in Shadows of the Damned? Have you considered maybe that you just aren't good at aiming guns?
It's also possible that he's just not good at Shinji Mikami games. Let's be real here.
Did I have the same problem? No, I don't think I did. We'd have to go back and re-listen.
There was another game where you
was
ran out of weapons, like everything.
It was because you didn't upgrade the machine gun, right?
Yes. It was a very specific reason.
Yeah,
it was because I didn't upgrade it.
I remember listening. I wasn't even on that one when I knew that.
At the end of the game, it wasn't that because I didn't have that problem in Shadows of the Damned throughout the game. In fact, I had the opposite problem in a sense, as I was too conservative.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm thinking of a couple before that.
Where It wasn't until the end of the game where you needed that one weapon, and I put no resources in it.
Yeah, yeah. No, I remember hearing. I remember
And
that.
it was really more about damage, I thought, than the amount of ammunition.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought they were. I mean, there were times when I ran out of ammo here, but almost never.
The ammo restriction was interesting. I think my point I'm trying to make is that it almost didn't fit the tone of the game.
Yeah. Like
everybody is shooting. Everything is flying everywhere, and I'm having to glance down at the lower left-hand corner of the screen. I just feel like it would be a more fun game if I didn't have to do that. If I could just hold the trigger down.
Well, I'm putting words in the developer's mouth here. One of the things I noticed when I was kind of going through this, before I came to my ultimate conclusion on the level up thing, that they encourage you to use guns that are the ones you don't want to level up. By that same token, they put down a bunch of those weapons that I didn't like. I mean, I was probably passing up 4 out of every 5 weapons. So, maybe their thought process was, we're going to limit the ammo because we want our players to use everything that we put in.
I could see that. I could see that logic making sense in like a design phase.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, as far as like stuff I liked about this game, it's just fun to play. And like
it is.
The little hitches here and there are like sort of minor speed bumps to the overall just like really just like this game's just candy.
It's over the top and goofy, and it's I think it's all those things that you liked about Shadows of the Dam, Scott, that I didn't like because they were turned so sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Pubescent boy, all that sort of dumb sex humor. Like the attitude and sort of the laughing at yourself was still here with all the dumb dialogue and some of the great over the top moments and stuff, but it wasn't. This was a good action movie. Shadows of the Dam was a bad horror game, and I think that's why I was able to deal with all the sort of goofy, corny dialogue and stuff.
I still don't agree with your take on Shadows, but I will agree with you here. This is a good action game. It's fun to pick up and play. The length I didn't think detracted to it at all. My only other, I guess, real big complaint would be the game doesn't change between the first, and I didn't make it all the way to the end, but at least halfway through, a little more than halfway through, the game never, like the access to weapons doesn't change.
By that second act, you have everything you
get. No upgrades, nothing changes. The scenery is almost the same. The concept is pretty much similar. You and a bunch of dudes shooting things up. There is a one point, I guess, where you go solo for a little bit, and that sort of changed things a little.
That was interesting. It was like Act 3, right?
Somewhere in there, yeah. And
they
I was wondering
Act 5.
How much that was going to change things. It did a little bit because I didn't realize how much the other guys on my squad were killing things until they weren't there, and then I had to kill everything on my own.
I had a moment with that too. There's there's aspects of this game that rely on you finishing levels quickly. Like you get more points if you finish a level within a certain amount of time. And every couple of levels, I would have one enemy that was just sitting somewhere that the AI just couldn't figure out where they were. And so I'm running around the level trying to kill this one last enemy so that they'll join me at the end point.
I only had one instance of that. It was in an area where we were pushing. It was right before I stopped playing. Start pushing through. There's like a gate that needed to open. And so I thought I had cleared the area. I didn't see any red dots on my little mini-map.
Yeah.
And everybody gathers around the gate and just stands there. It was such a video game thing. And I ran around and I ran around. And everybody's just standing at the gate. Nobody's telling me anything. I almost thought the game had just forgot to trigger the next sequence.
There was a lot of waiting on triggers, waiting for guys to all catch up. There was quite a bit of that, especially for a game that you blow through this quick. I mean, I was talking when we were talking to Musum earlier. I think I said 4.5 hours I got through this. Like, yeah. It was a lot of waiting on dudes.
Yeah.
There was some real good stuff too, though. Like that line at the beginning where Burns yells, "Come on, you apes! You want to live forever!" Like that's straight out of Starship Troopers.
I
It's
love
wonderful.
it. I wanted to give him a hug. I was like, oh man.
And they don't wink at the camera there. It's just this exact same line and intonation as the movie. So that they don't pin a tail on it, but it's the exact same thing. So like if you didn't know, you would just think that was a line. Like I liked that. He said the same thing. You know, Burns was basically all the good lines in this game. Where you were standing outside one of those gates, and he was like, "Hey, be ready to shoot if you see so much as a Roomba."
That was awesome. I love that.
Oh, I did hear that one. That was hilarious.
That was great, right? It kind of bummed me out when I got to the ending because they clearly thought this was going to be a franchise because they set it up kind of for an Act 2. That'll never happen.
That's a bummer.
Where the Russian guy's in space going, phase 1 of our plan is complete. And then he just goes off into nowhere. It's like,
Yeah.
Did you guys run across any like Oscar-looking trophies?
No.
Yes. What was with those?
They're just collectibles.
Yeah, I saw.
How do I get them?
You shoot them.
Oh.
They scream and turn red, and then just sort of bounce off into nowhere. It's kind of horrifying.
Nice.
Yeah, I saw those, and I never thought to shoot them. Why would I shoot a trophy?
Because it's because it's part of the high score at the end of the level. Yeah.
Because it's there. Did you guys come across the I call them the Geth. I don't know what the game's actually called them. RIs or something like that.
Russian intelligences. I don't know.
They look like Geth,
Yeah.
so I call them Geth. Did you come across the Geth dance party?
No.
Yes.
All right,
What?
Scott, tell them about the dance party.
Oh, did you not see the dance party?
No, I didn't see a dance party.
It was amazing. Okay, so you get off like an elevator, at least the one I saw. I don't know if there's more. I got off an elevator, and I walk up a hallway, and it opens up into this room, but all I saw initially was like this boombox looking thing, and it's blasting out music.
It sounded like the only thing it was missing was "Gonna take you for a ride" because it sounded exactly out of Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
So I come up to I turn the corner, so to speak, and there's like 2 of these robot things laying on the ground watching like 3 other guys dance. And I went, what game did I step into? And then I hurled a grenade in there and blew them up.
That's fantastic.
And the jam box turns out to
Yes.
be one of those wall shield bots.
Yes, then it blew my mind because the boombox transforms like the Transformers.
Yeah, what was that, Starscream? The one that turned into the cassette tape?
Starscream. He was the Jet.
He was the Jet. Okay, there was a Transformer that turned into a cassette tape.
Soundwave is
Yeah.
Soundwave, yeah.
And he looked like that. Like, oh, it was a real nice touch.
That's good stuff. There's
It
so
was.
many
It was
cool
really
little
cool.
things.
There's a lot of cool stuff. There's a lot of sort of Japanese stuff as well, even though it was built in English.
Which is, yeah.
The first chapter of Act 5 is literally titled Denouement. It's like, okay, all right, you kind of put it right on the nose there, but all right, guys.
Telegraphing pretty hard.
Yeah. Did you guys have any issues with the AI on Burns?
Not really, no.
It seemed like he thought every grenade I threw was going to blow up all his squad mates, because he kind of ran after all of them. So it was sort of funny his name was Burns, because I did nothing but explode him.
Nice.
Did you guys notice the weird, some of the cutesy little names for your squad mates?
No, I didn't.
I saw
couldn't name a single squad mate.
I saw one named Espikami, which I really liked.
Yeah, there was him. There was also a D. Grassi. Degrassi. Which I never watched, but I think the Canadians love. Hey, Scott, you were complaining about the cutscenes earlier. For being 720p, I thought they looked real good. I mean,
well, you were on the PS3, and the PS3 was known for having less compressed
okay.
video.
Yeah, it
My
supports
video
more
was
codecs.
horribly compressed,
Yeah.
noticeably bad.
That's a bummer. Like artifacts and stuff in the video.
Yeah, it gets that sort of grainy look, and
Yeah.
it's macro blocked in places. Yeah.
That's what I mean. Macro blocked. I couldn't think of the term.
I would say it was maybe a little fuzzy, or maybe sort of a little like someone had put Vaseline on the camera. And during the game, there was a little bit framey, but I mean, for as fast as you're moving around, what do you expect?
I didn't have any frame issues. The game ran rock solid for me. I didn't have any hiccups. What can I say? I thought the game looked good.
Yeah.
Given that it's 5 years old now, yeah, it looked great actually.
For sure.
Well, I think, and I don't know this, I haven't done any research on it, but just from the way it was split up, because I had to pay attention to all the credits, it seemed like they were referencing in the credits, like, okay, these were a bunch of developers for this, or programmers or whatever, for this type or part of the game, art or direction or whatever. It seemed like they were kind of grouped up, and because it would say, these guys all did this stuff, but they were from this company. So, like, they sort of farmed some of it out.
Yeah.
I'm guessing they farmed out the cutscenes.
Probably. I wouldn't doubt it. Because
they did look a little different. Yeah.
At least they didn't farm out the boss fights. Yeah. Like some other previous Game Club games did.
They were okay.
Deus Ex.
Human Revolution, specifically.
They were okay here. I didn't love them, but, by and large, I was real glad. I mean, I would give this game an 8.5.
Yeah, that's a solid score. I'd maybe an 8,
I don't know if I go that high.
I had fun with it from start to finish. It was just
definitely
fun
definitely.
after fun after
fun. It was a wonderful Game Club game.
Yeah.
Like, the strange thing is I don't even feel bad about not finishing it, really. Because I feel like I played enough of the game to know what the game was.
Yes.
Like, I don't feel like I missed anything. I almost feel like I just missed some additional levels.
Yeah.
As opposed to anything important. Like Red Dead, I felt like I missed something important by not finishing the game.
Same here. For me, the way I feel about Game Club, it's we say it's kind of like a book club. It's sort of and sort of not. Like with Game Club, it's not necessarily about finishing it. It's more about experiencing it and seeing what it's really about.
Right. Yeah.
And getting a good feel for what the game actually is. I think you can do that with just the first act of this game.
Oh, easily, yeah, because it, like I said, didn't really change up a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of our games that we've been fortunate enough to be given are kind of like that. Tomb Raider is another one that jumps to mind.
Yeah.
Like, it's better if you finish it, but if you play 4 or 5 hours of it, you kind of know what you're getting.
Absolutely.
And you can sort of understand the game as a whole.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I mean, I think this was like Scott said, this is probably one of my favorite Game Club games so far. Not because it's one of my favorite games we've played, but because it just fits the bill so well of being like that game that came out and like you heard about it, but maybe you didn't play it, or maybe you tried it at one point, or like at a buddy's house, and you're like, oh yeah, it's pretty cool. I don't know if I'd spend the money on it.
It's very forgettable, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
Just because
you think it's forgettable? I thought it was such a unique experience. I don't know that I'll take it to my grave.
if you play through it, it isn't forgettable. But it looks like a lot of other Japanese games. It's got mech suit. It's the guys.
Yeah, but it doesn't play like anything I've ever played.
No,
the guy's about 7 or 8 meters and some wings short of being a Gundam. Like, it looks.
It is the closest thing to a 3-dimensional bullet hell game.
See, people keep calling it a bullet hell, and I don't think I agree.
Really?
How could you not? There's bullets flying everywhere. Especially, there was one scene where you're boarding the ship or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they drop platforms with like a dozen guys on it just shooting guns at you.
Yes, that was brutal.
Like, wow, that's actually really awesome.
Yeah, but you just get behind cover and then pop out and headshot one and pop out and headshot one.
It's the difference between, so like a bullet hell, like the top-down standard shooter, you're going to be dodging the bullets and finding the patterns and finding the holes in the pattern. In this, you're just going to try and find some cover and hope it doesn't get destroyed.
Yeah,
but I don't see how you do a standard 2D bullet hell game in a 3D world.
There were pieces, like some of the boss fights, when they'd launch 60 or 70 missiles, that looked like it was going to be a bullet hell, except then you just went into rocket mode and moved 4 or 5 feet to the right, and you just dodge them all.
It's really like 400, 500 feet to the right, but yeah.
You can get out of that 5-foot blast radius, and you're fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is my point. So people keep calling it a bullet hell. I don't agree.
If you look at the boss fights, it's the sort of thing that you would get in a bullet hell shooter, where you've got to hit a specific point on the target, and then it exposes another point on the target, and you have to hit that new point. It's sort of it has all these little touches. It may not be technically one, but it is heavily influenced by it.
I don't know. I just had the same feeling I had when I play Galaga or R-Type or
Not
one
me.
of those old school games.
Not me. Not at all.
Yeah, fair enough. Do we have anything in this game that we really didn't like? Anything?
Yes.
I mean, I would say that my biggest thing was the fact that the guns are just not... I kept expecting to pick up a new gun and be like, oh man, what is this? And every time I was like, oh, that's kind of lame. Where's my machine gun?
Yeah.
I was not a fan. Almost stopped playing when you fought the creature that can kill you with one hit.
Which one was that?
Oh, there were a couple of them.
A couple? I only ran across one. It looked like just a collection of random scrap parts, right? And it had an eyeball in it.
Oh, that was a real cool boss. Talk
and
about
you would
him more.
shoot it. What?
I said that was a real cool quasi boss. Talk about him more. Explain what his deal is.
So he actually was a really cool boss, and once I figured out something, then it became less frustrating. But he was just like a collection of pieces, as far as I could tell. But it was controlled more or less by think of about an eyeball's not a good description. A globe.
An orb.
An orb.
Yeah, like an orb that just sort of creates this field that keeps all these garbage parts around it.
But then it molds it into different shapes. So, it would have a couple of big arms, or it would have like a scorpion tail type of thing. And it would climb the wall and hang from the ceiling.
I missed this. When was this?
It was later on.
Okay.
It was certainly after the Jambox party.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I probably just missed all of this too.
So here's the deal, though. He would sort of like open up in the front like a big mouth and turn red, and he would dart at you. And if he caught you, you're dead. Instant game over.
Bummer. Not even a QTE to get out of it?
Nope. Nothing. Did not enjoy any part of that because he killed me a lot. Now, here's the problem I had, though. I made the assumption, a poor assumption, that in order to get him... Because what you have to do is you have to shoot him apart so that the eyeball orb thing runs off. And it does. It's got like little legs, and it just runs around the map. And then you've got to shoot the little eyeball orb to take his health down. Well, I made the assumption that in order to get him to break apart, you had to shoot the eyeball part of him, because it's the thing that's flashing and glowing.
Yeah.
Well, that's not the case. You could shoot anything.
No, you just got to blow that garbage away.
Yeah, well, I didn't know that at first. So it was incredibly frustrating because it moves so quickly to try to get him to, to shoot that one piece. And of course, he's firing at you and stuff. That was frustrating. And then once I figured out, okay, I can shoot him anywhere and he'll fall apart.
Yeah.
Other thing that drove me crazy was the little guy would run away, and the map is laid out in such a way that there are so many obstacles that he would disappear around the corner. And I wouldn't be able to shoot him. And then he'd collect all his junk back up, and I'd go through the whole thing again. And I'd clear out my ammunition.
You literally have to shoot him in the junk.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing. I had to use the AR mode to slow him down. But it was so difficult to trigger that AR mode.
Really?
Why was it so hard?
I didn't know you could do it until Hannah brought it up earlier.
Wait, what AR mode? Like the slowdown?
Dodge and then, yeah.
You can trigger that yourself, right?
Yeah. You just dodge and aim.
You make it sound so simple.
That's all. Like, you literally have to... You hit X, you dodge with the stick in the direction you want to go, and you hit the L2 or whatever it is on 360.
That was not working. I had to...
Really?
I had to hit... Yeah, okay. I guess X was dodge for me, was it? I don't remember.
A would be dodge.
A was probably dodge.
Yeah.
Well, I had to dodge, and then it was a left trigger X combo button for me.
Oh, really?
But getting that timing right was tricky.
Huh.
And then once I got him frozen, inevitably, because I had to dodge and roll, I'm no longer pointed at him. So then I have to eat some of my time up reorienting my gun.
Yeah.
I don't know. The whole thing was frustrating. So it took. I almost didn't think I was going to get through that part, and I thought, well, okay, this is just where I'll end it. But I ended up managing to beat him. And guess what happened about 30 minutes later?
You had to fight him again?
You have to fight him again in a worse scenario, in a smaller room with more crap. It was...
Man.
They do that 2 more times.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. I'm glad I didn't go on.
Here's the
because I really
solution.
would have quit the next time.
Here's the solution. You just hold on to a rocket launcher, and you just save it for when you find that guy.
Yeah.
He gets all 3 rounds every single time. I will throw rocks at the next boss if I have to. This guy is getting all the rocket launcher rounds. And he's gone.
Well, it's one of those situations where it would have been nice to know that. But I come into the fight with my sniper rifle and my machine guns.
Oof.
Ooh, yeah, that's not good for that.
Because he is real quick once he is exposed from his junk.
But it's like everything else in this game. I mean, the concept was great. The boss was great.
But he's kind of cute when he's hopping around. He looks like a little worm.
It's pure Japanese bananasness. It was
bananasness.
It was crazy.
Love it. All right. What other any other glaring crazy things that we disliked about this?
I've said my piece about this one.
Yeah.
I'm real happy with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am too. I'm glad we played it.
Same here. I think we got a few quotes from the game. Jay-Z, if you'll do the honors.
Oh, I think I burned through them already, didn't I?
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, the Roomba thing and the apes.
Yeah, you got all of them. I think I had 1 or 2 here. I think my favorite was they teach you those big words at DARPA Fancy Academy from Robert Burns, just because Fancy Academy sounds really funny. And Get Out of the Way, which was your character every time he aimed his gun
oh my God.
at anyone who was on his side, and it was like every 2 seconds.
Yeah.
That's like the catchphrase of this game for me.
And in slow-mo, went, get out of the way.
Oh, yeah, okay. I did think that was a little weird that the voices slowed down.
I loved it, actually.
But I guess they kept it in character.
Yeah, it was really nice. Yeah. I mean, the only other issue I had was a couple of the vehicle escort missions got really out of hand, and it's like, you have a giant gun.
Oh,
on this
yeah,
thing.
okay.
Just shoot it.
The vehicle escort missions did get a little tedious.
It's like escort missions are one thing. Like, escorting a vehicle is a sort of a new level of ridiculous.
You're escorting an APC.
Yeah. There's no need for that. It is my escort. I am not its escort. This is backwards.
Yeah, that was a little rough. Where the one where you were on the bridge and you had the 2 turrets.
Yeah.
That you had to stop the jellyfish from coming in.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, jellyfish, real cool model on that.
Yeah,
those were a real cool concept.
Yeah, the jellyfish was great. Too bad that's when I got that LFE gun or something.
Oh, yeah, that's not going to
realize that. Oh, yeah, that doesn't work for anything.
Yeah.
Because that was the first time I remember seeing that gun, and I picked it up and I shot it and I went, "Oh, this is going to explode those jellyfish."
Nope.
And it didn't do anything.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the turrets, what made them rough is they all had finite ammo.
Mm-hmm. Which again, why does anything in this game have finite ammo?
It's, you know what, it's unusual, and it really bugged me at the beginning of the game, but once I got used to it, I really didn't like the turrets as much as my own guns anyway, so if 2 big dudes came out and I needed to burn them down, I'd burn them down with the turret. And then I would just leave the turret and go duking it out with guys, and if something else crazy came, I'd go back to the turret and still have ammo.
Absolutely.
So I got used to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do we have any weird, interesting emergent gameplay or glitches?
Not really. This was a pretty solid one.
No, it actually went pretty solidly. I don't think there was anything
Yes,
other than that weird little moment I had where there was an enemy that was sort of hidden in a way, and the game kind of just held out until I killed him.
Yeah.
Other than that, no.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we said it. This is probably a perfect Game Club game. Sort of known but kind of unknown. Didn't sell real well. Came out around a bunch of other really huge games and sort of didn't get the attention it could have garnered earlier in the year, like with a slightly later release.
Which is a bummer, because if they had snuck that out like right before Madden came out or something like that.
Yeah.
It's a short game. It would have got a lot of reviews. It would have been great for all the people who aren't interested in, Madden /NHL all the sports games. I think FIFA comes out right around then.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been a perfect spot for him. But who knows? I didn't work there. I don't know if that was feasible.
Yeah. No, we definitely need some more games of this caliber and of this. I don't know. You can't even say of this. Yeah, you can't even say of this style because there's nothing like this out there.
Yeah, I don't think there's another game like this one.
I think that's what makes this game so awesome. That's what I had so much fun playing this. I probably had about 3 sit downs with it, and just every time it was just an utter joy to play.
Oh, and that is the way to play this. I was talking about it on Twitter the other day. This is the way to play this game is to sit down and drop 40 minutes into it, and then come back tomorrow. Don't wait too long because you forget what you were doing. But just in every other day, maybe drop 45 minutes or an hour.
But I would argue that it doesn't matter that you come back the next day.
If you get far enough in, yeah.
I honestly couldn't tell you a thing about the story, and I don't know that it hindered my appreciation of it.
Well, I think we told everybody everything about the story at the beginning, and we learned some things. So, yeah. But I think that just about wraps it up for us tonight, gentlemen, unless we got some pressing issues.
No, just what we're doing next month.
Yeah, we're going to talk about next month?
Yeah, I think we are going to talk about next month because it's one of my favorite games of all time. So, the winner, Cerbero on the forums, Metal Gear Solid 1. I'm super excited to play this game again, especially because I've been playing just the bejesus out of Metal Gear Solid 5, and it's nice to go home and go, oh man, where did all this grow from?
I too have been playing Metal Gear.
Metal Gear.
And I did play through the first one forever ago in the PS1,
yep.
I think.
Yep.
Because it's an old school top down, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I played it forever ago and remember really liking it. Maybe I'm being weird, but the sort of rose-colored glasses, when I think back about that and I think back about 2, I think I liked 1 better, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
Oh, I think everybody liked 1 better. 2 was the big swerve.
Hey, I really like 2. With some perspective on it, 2 is probably one of the best games in the series, but that's an argument for another day.
We'll argue about that next month, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Now, I have to defend Urgent here.
Yeah.
Because Urgent suggested Rambo.
He is indefensible.
No. To me, Urgent...
We need to set him adrift.
So, first of all, why did nobody vote for it, Urgent? And
yeah, it should have at least 1, huh?
Yeah, right? Where's he at? Maybe he just likes, I don't know, Metal Gear better. Who knows?
And secondly, if... Was it Dark Souls was on there? If Dark Souls wasn't on there, I would have voted for it. Because I think that is exactly what Game Club should be about, is playing Rambo the video game, not Metal Gear Solid 1, a multi-billion-dollar Spawn franchise game.
Have you gone on to the Steam page and seen what that Rambo game is?
Yes, and
it's a rail shooter.
Play it. I would love to play it.
It's a $20 rail shooter with a mouse. It's not even typing of the dead. We need to set him adrift.
No. I think that's exactly what this Game Club should be about. Not Metal Gears.
I do firmly believe that the Rambo suggestion is the closest the TVGP community has ever come to trolling, which just speaks to the caliber of the people that surround this show, the forums, and this community in general. Y'all are great, and we love you.
Well, you know what, Scott? If you're so high on playing Rambo, I think you should play through it, and we'll give you 10 minutes to talk about it. Next show, how about that?
Look, I couldn't even play through this 6-hour game for this month.
I'm sure it's even less than that. Come on.
I'm not going to play through a game that was not on the list.
No, it was on the list.
It didn't make the cut.
It didn't make the cut. It did not get voted in.
It seems to have a lot of merit. I don't know. You seem like you want to play it, Scott. I think you should.
I do. I think Rambo is a much better Game Club game than Metal Gear. There you go.
Great.
Sue me.
We expect 10 to 15 minutes on it.
But the people have spoken. So, Metal Gear it is. I'll be interested.
Maybe I'll go form my own Game Club and we'll play Rambo.
I'll make my own game club. Blackjack and hookers.
I'll take my thread and go somewhere else.
No, we need you. You're the only smart one here. So yeah, Metal Gear Solid. You can get that on PlayStation Network. You can probably find a hard copy for super cheap online because it sold literally millions.
Fine, super cheap. It is an old PS1
It's
game.
not
though.
as cheap as you'd think.
It's, you know what?
It's
I'll
still gonna set you back $20 or $30.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And
I've
then
seen it cheaper than
here's the
that.
thing to remember though: anybody's PS3 will play a PS1 game, correct?
Yes.
So
Alright, the
you
first
don't need an
listing-
original PS game, PS1.
The first listing on Amazon for Metal Gear Solid is $471.
Well, yeah, it's probably a mint copy in case. You
Yeah.
gotta find, like,
Metal
those
Gear
used ones,
Solid,
man.
the Essential Collection for PS2 is $75.
It does not contain Metal Gear Solid.
No, it does not.
Oh, it doesn't? There you go.
No,
Um,
do not get
the
Metal Gear
greatest
Solid.
hits
Central
version,
Collection.
you can get a used one for $25. Like, if you have a PS3, you're probably just better off just downloading it.
Probably.
Because
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
it's
$10.
$10.
Yeah, it's $10. It's totally worth it. This one didn't come out on PC, right?
There is another copy on the GameCube, the Twin Snakes.
That's a very. There's some stuff about that. I would recommend if you're gonna play Metal Gear Solid for the first time, it probably shouldn't be Twin Snakes.
What's wrong with Twin Snakes? I thought they improved it.
It's a
Oh
very,
boy,
it's,
here we
it's,
go.
it's a very divisive release.
Uh-oh.
I actually
Uh-oh.
like it a lot personally, but I don't think it should be your first exposure to that game. If you
Fair
really-
enough.
Retcon
it's
some
also
stuff.
way more expensive. You're
Fair
not gonna be
enough.
able to find a copy of that game for cheap.
Yeah,
So-
there's like $480.
Yeah. No, you don't mess around with Twin Snakes on GameCube. Like that is like it's a great game, but it is just so the direction and everything is so different from what the original game actually is. It's sort of it gets into like corny territory, like, and some of the voices
Well, that's
get
the
changed.
version I'm going to play now.
All right, fine, you be that guy.
If I can't play Rambo, I'll play the closest thing to it.
Whoa! Let's not insult the game.
I think that would be Pokemon Snap.
All right. So that's our game for next month. I will be posting, the new thread for votes about halfway through October. So keep an eye out for that. And please, if you have not suggested a game and you're listening right now and you're on the forums, go to the suggestions thread on the forums and suggest us some games because we need to build up this list. I want to see some crazy stuff. And if you have a game on the list already, feel free to change up your suggestion. If you want a different game on the list, throw your old one out and we'll put the new one in there.
And if you're not already on the forums, go to tvgp.tv,
Yep.
click the forums button, click on the link to the forums,
Yep,
sign up, suggest a game. We'll see you next month.
indeed. Jay-Z, you got anything to plug?
Just Twitter. The other JZ, that's JZEE. E1M1 Network on Twitch. Oh, the Carousel Podcast.
There you go.
Musim and I and a couple of his buddies, Musim and a couple of his buddies sort of had this rotating cast that would do a podcast every month. Just comics, video games, movies, all that kind of stuff. That went on hiatus for about a year. So he and I and a couple of his buddies have started it back up. It is, I will say this, very, very explicit. It is not safe for work to the nth degree.
It's
So-
not safe for humanity.
That's probably also fair. But that is called the Carousel Podcast. You can just find us on Twitter. Search for Carousel Podcast. We'll show up.
Yep.
We stream. We stream the show, and then we're going to be streaming different games every other Monday night because we do Monday show, Monday streaming, Monday show, Monday streaming. So we got stuff. We'll put it up there.
All right. Nintendo, you got anything to plug?
No,
No? Nothing?
my toilet's not broken, so
Yes.
No.
Yeah, once again, Musim couldn't join us because of apparently a destroyed toilet, so we'll find out how suspect that is. But no, it's a shame he couldn't be here. But yeah, you can find me on Twitter at the Hannah. You can find me on PS4. I'm also the Hannah there. You can see me along with Boston and Knobs every Sunday. Well, most Sundays. At twitch.tv/E1M1 Network. You can listen to the main show at tvgp.tv. And everything else is on the right-hand side of the page there. I don't think I missed anything.
I think we were very, very.
Very
Yes.
thorough. All right. All right. Well, guys, thanks for joining me again. And to everyone out there in Twitch land and listening to the podcast, thanks for listening.
Yeah, chat was great this month. Thanks, guys.
Yep. Bye-bye.